At this point, I would like to acquaint you with a few important colors. As every color has a different effect on its observer, or in our case on the player, it is quite helpful to deal with the various colors and their respective effects. Colors can change the mood of a player, but also differentiate items, enemies, and levels. In this video, we are going to look at the emotional side of colors. So let's just start with the color red. Red is often associated with danger, power, courage, or fire by the player. This color can therefore lead to an improvement of responsiveness, but also to high blood pressure. This was found out in examinations by the psychologist Andrew Elliott from the University of Rochester. Studies also showed that in action games with different teams, the team members dressed in red won about 10% more often than the competitors dressed in blue. The reason for that is that on the one hand, red makes the players who are wearing it feel more powerful, and on the other hand, it appears aggressive and dangerous to the blue team. That is why they often feel defeatedly. Red is mostly used in first-person shooters for the so-called bloody screen. If the player's character is attacked by an enemy or even dies, then the screen turns red, which is supposed to indicate blood, mortal danger, or death. He is now realizing that he must fight to survive. Next, I will tell you something about blue. Blue is considered as a very cold color. It could be used in a winterly environment to convey the feeling of coldness. In this case, bluish discolored faces of game characters can contribute to the atmosphere which you as a game designer can create for the player. Furthermore, blue stands for calm and trust. The blue sky and blue water makes a person aware of the fact that there's no danger. However, a very dark blue, which we can find far out in the ocean, can seem threatening and scary. Now let's jump to the next color. Orange. Orange symbolizes happiness, friendliness, and a combination of light and warmth. This is precisely why this color provides for a pleasant climate. In video games, we can often find orange in backgrounds with sunsets. To make the environment appear even more realistically, the foreground is often darkened to see a bigger contrast. Green. Green is often associated with the nature, which is meadows, forests, and plants, but also with calm, vitality, and self-respect. In a negative sense, green symbolizes the color of poison. But why is poison almost always green? We can find the answer to this question back in the 19th century. The so-called Paris green was a popular pigment which was used in artists' paints. It was appreciated for its color intensity and fastness to light, but unfortunately also famous for its toxicity. And this is the reason why in game design you can often discover a green liquid between canyons. The players are aware that they should absolutely avoid jumping into or swimming through liquids of this color, and instead of that find another way to get to the other side. The players know exactly that any contact with it would lead to injuries or even to death. Apart from the colors, there are many further effects which can be used to create a great atmosphere. I'm going to show you a couple of examples now. Wind in a graphic representation. Objects or plants that move through the wind. The player's breathing during cold temperatures. Small clouds of smoke that arise at the player's feet when running. Flickering lights, which are popular in horror games. Fog. Rain, thunderstorms, and snow. Light and shadows. And surfaces such as puddles or window panes in which objects and lights are reflected. The atmosphere of a game can already be communicated to the player at the beginning on the menu screen. In the background, for example, a small section of the game world can be displayed and a matching background music can be played. As a result, the player can already be tuned in on the gaming experience. Our small summary of atmosphere tells us the use of certain colors in the game leads the player to different states of consciousness and makes him feel comfortable in the game world. And graphic effects that reflect, for example, the weather, help to perceive the environment as even more realistic. It is important that some of the graphic effects, such as rain or thunderstorms, are accompanied by sounds. What we saw here is that in game design, details play an important role. But don't worry, of course you don't need to memorize all of them. At the end of this chapter, you will also find a summary to download, on which all useful points are briefly explained. Now we are at the end of this chapter, and you got the knowledge that enables you to create a great game world. In the next chapter, we will be learning some very interesting things about the game Avatar. See you then!